brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
What time is it, Sparky?
I believe it's time for some Suds.
I believe it's definitely time for Suds. Welcome to the Suds episode, where everything good in life is worth discussing. Hey, this is a 1-hour show that's actually mildly entertaining for about 22 minutes, although our prospects for today are looking closer to about 14 minutes. What do you think? I think it's close to that. At least. I'm optimistic anyway. Hey, listen, this is good old boy Mike. Joining me here at the table is good old boy Sparky.
Howdy.
Good old boy Kendall.
Hey, everybody.
Good old boy Matt.
Howdy.
Good old boy Richard.
Hello.
So that's our lineup here today. Sparky has a blog called Parenting While Intoxicated. Sparky, take a minute, show everybody a little bit about your blog here.
Well, I think it started out as an intervention, but DCS said we were cool, so now it's pretty much just a blog that talks about
group therapy, and now the kids are no longer in foster care. So.
No, we got them back, so it's a good times. But no, it's all about all the things you need to get through parenting: food, delicious potables, and there probably still is an intervention coming.
Cool. Kendall has also a blog called Beer Makes 3. Kendall, take a minute. Tell us a little bit about your blog.
Beer Makes 3 is a blog I do with my beautiful bride where we share the good news of good beer.
Well, our beer segments, or our Sud segments, are all about beer, and more beer. I guess they're about reading the words actually on the page, probably too, maybe, some days. Well, today's show is being recorded at the Southern Brewers Conference in Nashville, Tennessee. Kendall, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Southern Brewers Conference here?
Southern Brewers Conference is its inaugural year. This has never happened before. It's a regional conference for 13 states throughout the South and Southeast, pretty much anywhere from Virginia all the way to Texas. I think there's about 900 people here this year. It's a lot of great sessions. We've learned a lot of good things. Spike from Terrapin was our keynote speaker, and we've had a really good time. We've still got one day to go, and it's a good time here in Nashville.
Well, it's a real pleasure to record here. This is one place that we haven't been banned yet, so there's that, So,
Yet.
Bravo.
We're working on it.
It's the inaugural year, so give it time.
We still may not get the damage deposit back from this after lunch.
Well, our topic today on this great episode of Sip, Suds, and Smokes is going to be all about session beer. Well, it's not quite the type of session that I was thinking about in terms of guitar licks, but, like beer, it's actually meant to be consumed in usually one sitting of actually, drinking beers over and over, and usually hitting on the good-looking, wait staff itself. So these beers are synonymous with the following phrases.
I'm not that baby's daddy.
And also,
man, you were better looking when I met you last night.
Totally. There's probably some other phrases that really come to mind. I know Sparky's thinking at least of 3 or 4 that I didn't put down.
For legal purposes, I'm not allowed to say those on the air.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Kendall is our resident Cicerone, and he's going to give us a quick overview on exactly what is session beer, or what are they typically called.
I think in common vernacular, a lot of people are just starting to assume a session beer is an easy drinking beer that's not too high alcohol and it's not going to get them falling over drunk. So it's a beer that's usually no higher than 5% ABV, ideally somewhere between 4 and 5. It's a nice, usually balance of the malt and the hops. It's a clean finish, easy drinking, really enjoyable beer for the most part. And they allow the drinker to have several, like I said, so you will not have to crawl home. if you have 3 or 4 throughout an evening. They don't overwhelm you like maybe drinking 3 or 4 imperial stouts would.
Do people actually get better looking while you drink session beer? What do you think?
I find I have to do a lot less apologizing to my wife because of session beers. That's generally
My level of apology goes down just because I'm peeing a lot more.
right.
I definitely get better looking when I'm drinking session beers,
There you
for sure.
I think those are all better definitions of session beers. People get better looking.
Or at least we do.
Yeah. It's gonna take quite a few sessions of session beers to get to that.
There's always an improvement to be made, right,
Yeah.
Kendall? That's why it's a
Somewhat.
radio show.
It's incremental at best.
Wow. Just when I think it was going well, it just completely went south so fast. So I agree. There's a really wide interpretation open for what is described as a session beer. For today's episode, we've actually kind of declared the line right at 5% ABV. And typically styles that are available both in higher alcohol as well. So we've tried to pick some beers that are made, in a variety of ABV levels. So, Matt, I know that you brew commercially, and I was curious, what do you think are some of the challenges that you see in actually making a great session beer on a commercial scale?
One thing I find is that, most breweries do have a great session beer in their lineup already. One thing that I really look for that I find more of a challenge is, there's the more trendy session beers that people are brewing, but the thing, you think of session beers, summer, barbecue. I think one of the big challenges is creating a session beer that still stands up to food, that still has body.
I like that definition. That's really good. Stands up to food. I like that one.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Richard, I was curious, do you see session beers being a regular part of the craft beer scene, or is this basically just a flavor fad, kind of like goes fruited IPAs, barrel aging, and now session beers?
I kind of believe session is a new adjective to a style of beer that's sort of already existed. So, I mean, I know that I have a number of beers that you could consider session, and I know that I have one beer that I tell you is a session. But if we're going to look at the actual definition, or if we're going to look at what we perceive for a session beer to be, then I would say that I make a lot of them, and everybody makes a lot of them. We all make a beer that's under 5%. I mean, I have 4 right now going through my brewery. But as far as it being a flavor fad, first off, I love gozes. I don't want it to be a flavor fad. The goza will come back. But I say it's a fad. I think the word might be a fad because we like to. I think we as human beings like to categorize things in funny ways. But yeah, if we're gonna call this a flavor fad, then I say it would be. Yeah, sure.
Well, the beer that we're actually going to go through today is all being tasted and rated double blind. So we'll actually discuss and reveal as we kind of go along what's in our top 6 session beers on this particular show. So we actually tasted 10 beers, and then we narrowed our field down from those 10 down to 6 that we'll talk about today. Everybody sitting around the table here has no idea what they've rated in their top 6. And there's one zinger in here that I'm not going to reveal just quite away. Well, we've asked both of our brewer guests here to guess the last year that UT actually beat Alabama to determine who would not be reading the Suds ratings for today. So the winner of that contest is going to be Richard. And Richard, let me tell you a little bit about this game before we get to the Suds ratings. It was a really close contest. So,
it was.
So the last win was actually in 2006 for the third Saturday in October, where Eric Ainge struggled early, but the Vols overcame almost 3 interceptions in the first half. And actually the Vols came back and won with a run by Aaron Foster in the last 3 minutes of the game. Historic. I mean, it was just, you can almost hear Rocky Top, playing right about now.
I'll never forget it.
I was in the UT marching band, so I usually have a seizure when I hear Rocky Top. I played it so many thousand times.
I don't have that on the soundboard today, so
Sorry.
That's
better that way.
We're all luckier for that.
Yeah, thank you.
And
God
they're
bless
all looking
you.
at me going,
This is a complete waste of time.
Let's get on to the Suds ratings for today. Richard, why don't you share with us what are the Suds ratings? And I want you to try and channel your favorite sportscaster.
Okay. We'll be tasting and discussing these beers and rating them with these Suds ratings plus our signature belching sounds. Here are those ratings now. Suds ratings. That sucks. Give me anything but a bud. Was that a belch? Ah, what a relief. A body should not really make that sound. Listen to that hang time. Give me another.
Now, who is your favorite sports analyst, Richard, when you think about it?
I mean, I want to... Bob Costas.
Bob Costas?
Yeah, but I'm
well,
not really...
he still has all of his hair, so that's a good choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Walt Whitman is also... I'm an English major. Walt Whitman was a great sportscaster.
Really? He was?
Yeah, no, he was. He has some sports essays.
Wow.
Right.
In the halls of completely useless information, that may make the top 5.
Hey, you're welcome.
Was there beer involved in that?
I mean, yeah, beer and
I bet he
all
crushed it.
sorts of awful things, I'm sure, yeah.
Was there beer actually consumed in the stands during that game, Sparky?
You know, my first job ever was selling Cokes at UT football games at the age of 14, and I quickly realized that selling glasses of Coke to the students so they could dump it out and then use the ice for Jack Daniels was the greatest money-making opportunity I could ever
So
have.
that's how you paid for undergraduate.
Damn Skippy. That and playing Rocky Top for hire.
Hey, we'll be right back.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf, iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet.
Hold on.
Hey, welcome back to Sips, Suds, and Smokes. This is good old boy Mike. On today's Suds episode, we're talking about session beers. And we're going to be going through a series of our top 6 beers out of a flight of 10 that we picked. This is a double blind tasting. We're going to be talking the big reveals. We kind of go along. So you'll be able to hear the reaction as we go along. So we're going to actually start right at the top. And so we used a numbering key when we were going along, so you don't know what that is, and you don't need to know. So our top beer is actually going to be number 7 on our key, but our top beer is from Against the Grain. It is called A Beer. It is an
beer.
A Beer. I think that's what it's called, right?
I don't know.
That's what it said on the label. I think this is a extra American pale. Is that right?
I have no idea. I'm not familiar with the beer.
All right. We'll drag some.
Is that extra American or extra American?
American, yeah, American. Well, they do. I think they make one of those. So we're going to go around the table here, talk a little bit about our tasting notes as well as our Suds rating. Up first is good old boy Kendall.
I really enjoyed this beer. To me, it had some of the classic flavors of a great pale. It was, I got a little resin, pine, touch of citrus. It was almost like a classic beer, but a little bit lighter body and a little easier drinking, which I would expect out of a session. It was my favorite of the bunch, and it's a 4.
How about that? Cool. Good old boy Sparky, what did you think about
This
A Beer?
This one threw me of all the ones that we had. I almost got almost a smokiness. I'm not sure where that came from out of it, just a light bit of that. But absolutely got the resin out of it, maybe a little bit of almost a darker caramel flavor out of it. But, yeah, it really threw me when I tasted it because I wasn't expecting that amount of complexity. They really could have gone with a better name other than just
A Beer.
A Beer. I'd like to try B Beer sometime or maybe C Beer.
Z's a great.
And I gave it a 4 overall.
A 4 as well. How about that? Good old boy Matt, what did you think about A Beer from Against the Grain?
I liked it a lot. It had some nice citrus and floral and tropical notes from the hops. It had kind of a Earl Grey kind of tea backbone, a little more, English ale, extra pale ale. Thought it was a great beer. Nice light-bodied beer. It was great.
What's your Suds rating?
I'd give it a 4.
4 as well. Richard, a good boy, Richard. What do you think about a beer from Against the Grain?
I liked it. I picked up a lot of caramel apple, also some tropical floral notes in it. I found it to be really dry, which is something that made me associate it to an English pale ale. I also thought that it was not my favorite of the bunch. It was actually my lowest one that I had out of my top 6, which isn't that bad. But I liked it. It was an A beer for me.
What's your Suds rating for that?
I'll give it a 5.
Oh, a 5?
That's the highest.
That's the highest?
Yeah.
No, then I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3.
Okay. Do we need to go over that again? You read the Suds ratings, man.
I did. Yeah. I sampled a lot of beer.
Well, my own quick, I know, I have to. My own tasting notes around this. I agree that this really is kind of more reminiscent of some English hops. I don't know if there are any noble hops in this, but I like the dry finish off this. I think that's my favorite part about this. I don't know that that's probably a real strong characteristic of a lot of session beers that I have, where you really have a nice crisp, unless it's a lager. Mm-hmm. Nice crisp, finish kind of like that. So I'm going to give it a solid 4 as well. I think it's a great beer. All right, we'll clip right along here. I'm going to let everybody translate here. Your number 2 beer is going to be number 10.
Which was?
Summer Lager from Schlafly.
Oh, phew.
And the crowd goes wild. Man, they're just I'm kind of behind themselves here.
Go Schlafly.
As they're translating, going, that's not quite.
I'm really glad because that's one of the beers in my
what I
portfolio.
thought that.
I enjoyed it.
Good old boy Kendall, what do you think about Summer Lager from Lager from Schlafly? Oh my goodness!
Wait till you get Schlagler.
Where are we at? What planet is this?
I like I got a lot of the bready malts out of it. BREADY, not Bretty, but bread D. Mm-hmm. It reminded me almost of a classic Bohemian or Czech Pilsner with that big malt in there. Just enough bitterness to be balanced, but it was an enjoyable beer, and it was a 4 for me.
How about that? Good old boy Sparky, what do you think about the beer from Schlafly, their Summer Lager?
It was a classic lager. Those guys really do make some great classic style beers. Again, almost fruity, just really great legs on the end of it, and just. Yeah, I was looking for the barbecue that went along with it, so gave that a 4.
Well, it almost read like a marketing portfolio there, that you aligned directly with the beer.
Harumph.
Maybe you were in the room.
Perhaps.
Good old boy Matt, what do you think about the Summer Lager from Schlafly?
It's just a really nice, clean lager, perfect for boating. You want to drink it by the gallon. Great summertime, sunshine, run around naked on the river beer. Excellent.
So that would include motorboating in addition to classic boating?
Yes,
all right.
Definitely.
I support that.
I give it a 4++.
4++. Good old boy Richard, what do you think about Summer Lager from Schlafly?
I thought it was, like everybody said, it was bright, bready malt. It was sweet and it was dry. I mean, in my opinion, like Bohemian Pilsners need to have a little bit of more. I wanted more of a bitter characteristic out of it. I just wanted to flesh itself out. But I could drink, like you said, I could drink gallons and gallons of it, and I would definitely be naked while drinking it.
And motorboating.
Yeah, and motorboating.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of motorboating.
Really, it's a hell of a sport.
Actually,
It's fantastic.
I like rowing boats.
I'm glad he's keeping his clothes on during this. What's your Suds rating for this?
I'll give it a 4.
A 4 as well. So I almost feel like this is a beer that was engineered for an event. And three of you have actually mentioned getting naked all at the same time. So I don't know if that was part of the marketing brochure.
What beers pair best with nudity?
Which beer would you go with clothing optional activity?
Well,
a classic lager.
I mean, I would have picked something with higher ABV if it was clothing optional.
Exactly.
That makes the clothing optional faster.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a perfect pairing sheet. Breweries should do that more. Like
Yeah.
pair it with activities.
It's a future show.
Pairs with carnal activities.
I'd like that to be can we turn that into a flavor fed beers that would pair well with clothing optional events?
Yeah, no, that's ideal. Yeah,
Classic nude volleyball videos from the 60s.
21.3% ABV. You won't remember the people that you're sleeping with or the rest of the people in the room after you have this beer.
Why are there so many people in the room?
Are you ready for a bacchanalian orgy? Try this beer.
It's only freaky the first time.
Is it your hand or a pillow?
Those are pillows.
Well, I thought this was a really solid beer. I think for a lager, I was really looking for something that had a bit more of that clean, crisp finish off of it. This was a little bit sweeter, and I agree for a Bohemian Pilsner, I would have expected a lot more body around it, but still a really great beer. I felt like this was well engineered for what they were aiming for. I'm going to give it a 3. All right, we're moving right along here, and so the next beer in the lineup for number 3 beer is going to be number 1 sample cup, and that is Classique Stillwater Artisinal. Yeah, look at them. They're like,
wow.
Oh, that tastes different now.
So, yeah, we have definitely drifted a little off the flavor wheel for most things that are considered session. I think this is actually a Saison, if I remember right.
Yeah, it tastes.
Yeah, I think a lot of head nodding going around that one. So I'm going to let them gather their thoughts while I grab my number 1 cup here so I can sample along with you. Good boy Kendall, what do you think about the Classique from Stillwater Artisinal?
I did not know who made it, but the description does not surprise me. I was getting some peppery notes, just a little bit of banana esters off of that Belgian yeast they're using. I thought it was a really easy drinking beer. Go well with a lot of different foods. For me, it was a 3.
All right. Good boy Sparky, what do you think of Classique from Stillwater Artisinal?
So the whole topic of this was session beers, and
I thought it was about clothing optional people that you can't remember their names.
No, it's about being a motorboating son of a gun. But we had all these lined up, and I was trying to decide: do I want to start at 10 and work my way down, or 1? And this was actually the last beer that I tried. I started 10 and worked my way down, and I think this had been the first one. It would have blown my mind. Just because, again, it had the classic Saison. You were getting the banana flavor out of it. And, just fantastic. Somebody Google the ABV real quick. But, no.
I think that this one was right at 5.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah,
I was curious about that. But, yeah, fantastic. Very drinkable and very approachable Saison. I give it an overall 4.
So, good old boy Matt, what do you think about Classique from Stillwater Artisinal?
Flowers in a glass. So floral. Wonderful nose. Great spice notes. Very well-made beer. Very enjoyable. Highly recommend it. I think it's a 4++ as well.
All right, a 4. Hang on 1 second. Here we go. Sounds good. Good away, Richard. What do you think about Classique from Stillwater Artisinal?
I thought it had a nice nose. It was dry and it was crisp and everything I expected from something that's a session beer with one of my favorite yeasts ever. I just really love the complexity that yeast can bring to something so simple as probably what I assume is a pretty solitary grain bill. I really loved it. I'll give it a 4.
A 4 as well. How about that? Well, I think the one thing that caught me with this beer was I love how you picked off the Belgian yeast, right off the dead bat, because I thought that big banana, was floating right along, and
I know you're a fan of the big banana.
Well,
And I know when we're motorboating, we always like to talk about the big banana.
this is a family-friendly beer show. We've discussed banana and clothing optional,
And I think
all
that
within the
that's-
same 10 minutes.
Not a lot of pepper in my banana, but a lot of salt.
Well, the thing I like about this is it would definitely stand up for food. I think because of the high sugar component that is kind of wrapped around this, I think it would stand up against a lot of spicy food. Along the way, Sparky's nodding his head, all things spicy. He's saying, I think that would hang pretty tough.
Yeah, but it has a nice low pH.
Yeah,
So
it
it's gonna
does.
clean up on your palate nicely, and
That's what I like is this really does clean out, really well. And so typical, more Belgian just kind of hangs around, in your mouth, and that's part of what I like is that it does have a clean finish of it, Matt. So I completely agree.
in lighter saisons, you're not going to get like the big pepper notes or whatever. But I think that as far as the other yeast characteristics beside the floral, it's really balanced between the phenolics and the esters, the banana, the spice, the flowers. It's all balanced. It's really nice.
Yeah, I think it's a good solid 3, for me. So let's keep moving right on along here. So your number 4 beer is actually the number 4 sample cup. So I'll let you grab that, and I'll let you definitely take this in. This is Heavy Melon from New Belgium. Look at Kendall.
It was actually one of my guesses. There's a few watermelon beers out this year. It seems like watermelon is definitely a 2016 trend. I've liked most of them that I had. This one, I think, is just overall a good watermelon beer. You pick that up instantly, but to me, that's kind of all it is. It was a little thin, a little light, and I think it's one-dimensional, but if you're a watermelon fan, you're really going to enjoy it. It's a 3.
How about that? Go to boy Sparky. What do you think about Heavy Melon from New Belgium?
I had a hard time recognizing that it was watermelon. Is it watermelon specifically?
It
or
is, yeah.
Yeah. No,
No, they put a big ass watermelon on the label just
Is that
because
right?
they actually
Yeah.
put peach in
Yeah.
there.
It gets me every time. What are those ad wizards up to next? Those crazy guys. No, honestly, I find usually most watermelon beers terrifying. Generally, I don't. I mean, there's some that are out there that are really rub me the wrong way, and I would say that this is absolutely rubbed me the right way. Especially when motorboating. I'm going to keep saying that the whole episode. You'll never stop me. I'm invincible. I give it a 4.
4, how about that? Good old boy Matt, what'd you think about Heavy Melon from New Belgium?
It was pretty good. It definitely wasn't my favorite, but it's a nice watermelon beer. One thing I did like about it is that they kept the rind off it, which gives it more of a cucumber flavor. So it is like pure watermelon flavor, but it is one-dimensional. I give it a 3.
3, how about that? Good old boy Richard, what do you think about Heavy Melon from New Belgium?
I really liked it. I didn't really get the watermelon as much. I got like almost a stone fruit kind of like experience out of it. But one of the words I wrote, unintrusive, which I'm not exactly sure if that's a positive or negative thing when I think about a session beer.
I think it's a good word with fruit. Anything with fruit in it,
Right.
it's unobtrusive.
Yeah, and I wrote nice, but I like capitalized in. So I mean, thinking back to myself psychologically, like I really love the beer. I think it's a great beer if you like melon beers. I just whenever I think about melon beers, I expect a little bit more complexity, just because melon is a great foundation to do lots of weird stuff, and you can do that with a session. And I didn't feel like it was done with that, but I'm going to stick with what I originally said and just give it a 4. I really enjoyed it.
I think Richard is when I first had it. When it was colder. I really was picking up more of the stone fruit, but as it's warmed up, I'm absolutely getting the watermelon flavor. Did anybody at the table have a chance to check out Southern Grist's watermelon goza?
I did.
Holy,
yes. Oh man,
See what I mean?
sugar
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
Oh, that sugar baby is
I
off
had
the
that
hook,
last
man.
Sunday.
We would talk about that all day on the show if it was distributed outside like a 2-block radius.
I still have a
you're a
legal
little
amount
kid.
of crowlers.
The salt in the watermelon.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
kids get salt on their watermelon, goes it.
To me,
Oh my God, it's so good.
It's the perfect combination.
That would be good,
I
but
have to say. Yeah.
To me, the best watermelon beer this year was Rivertown's Nice Melons.
I'm just going to stick
I like
with
the title.
The Paradox, still rocks out
The
for me,
Paradox
so.
is another world.
I like melons.
I like motorboat.
And clothing optional episodes. So the heavy melon from New Belgium. So the first time I had this was actually at the festival at Outer Banks this year, and really great festival. It's literally right there on the Sound water side, and there were a lot of great beers that were there, and a lot of summer beers are being released, in the middle of that festival. And so I had an opportunity to try this alongside, probably 100 plus other beers that day. And this actually made my top 3 list. I really felt like this was something that really was hanging tough with a lot of things that just didn't have, it needed a little bit of flavor to it. And I thought that this was melon that was not overdone. And I liked the measure of restraint that was done about this. I love New Belgium. Kim has really turned into a good friend of the show. And, I think it's a really great company producing really great beer. But even outside of that, the beer that's in this cup, I thought was really solid. I like it for what it's not. It's not over the top. So I'm going to give it a solid 4. Well, we have had the chance to taste through 4 beers so far. We'll go through the reveal of our last 2 beers here, pretty much coming up right after this break.
You need to tell us what the zinger is before we go through the last 2. I feel we need to...
Maybe we'll do that.
I need the zinger.
The double whammy, if you will.
Not just the destination, but baby, the whole elation of riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as a willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right, keep your eyes on the road, my darling, wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows, my hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
Hey, welcome back to Sips, Suds, and Smokes. This is good old boy Mike. You have brought the 3rd segment for today. Our Suds episode is all about session beers and clothing optional moments. So
we're way down the rabbit hole, and there's probably no chance we will ever get out.
All right, so we're going to have a chance to actually talk about our zinger for the day. I'm going to ask everybody to pick up sample cup number 6. Oh man, that sucker is singing. I'm telling you, that is just off the hook. So, Kendall is saying no way.
A little bit of corn.
A little bit of corn.
Green
That's
apple.
good. It's very interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How about it, Sparky?
I'm chewing it in my mouth.
All right,
Yes.
Matt. Quick comments about this number 6 here.
It's a nice lager, minimal sulfur. It's good. I think I preferred number 10 a little better, but very good beer. Drink it all day long.
All right. And Richard, what do you think about sample number 6 here?
I could drink it all day long. It reminds me of the
No.
You can drink anything all day long.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you just have to know that about me. When I say I can drink it all day long, that's just a sentence that I give to beers. I think that it reminds me of like that initial confectionery sweetness that you get from like a gumball. And I see that, and then there's not much else. It's just like kind of like that corn syrupiness.
Here's a little hint about what is in sample number.
Keep your hands suds off my PBR.
Seriously.
Yeah, that is a PBR all the way.
Another fine product.
Yeah, I've no problem. I've drank so much PBR on the river.
And
I think half of Nashville has. I think that's like...
I think my endocrine system produces PBR now.
actually, this is a go-to beer for me. There's a little honky-tonk over by where I live. At happy hour, they've got $1 PBRs on draft, and that's what
like
I
you're
eat.
getting paid to drink beer.
Exactly.
God
And when
bless
I'm
America.
eating like buffalo chicken wings, I'm not going to pass up $1 PBR.
Never, no.
And when it's ice cold, it's a little better than it is when it warms up.
My first experience in Nashville was whenever my company rolled out here, and I drank, and I was shotgunning beers, PBRs, with my packaging manager at the time, and then the next morning I was so hungover that I actually produced a lot more PBR outside of the sales rep I was riding's vehicle on the way to
I never
meet
got that
this account.
story.
Oh, you'll hear it later.
Well, you need to come to the warehouse, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
We've got some more of that if you
So
need
how
it.
many clothing optional moments have you had with PBR?
And when you say shotgunning, are we talking about keys?
Yeah, no,
or a knife?
yeah, we did it with the key. Of
God
course.
bless you.
Yeah,
All right.
of course.
Do you remember
yeah.
her name?
I don't know. We probably had like 20 or 30 packs of PBR on my last Grand Canyon trip, and
It's got
the
electrolytes.
thing I like about it is that you can drink it when it's warm. It's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's better now that it's warm. Actually, I feel like lagers. Like I love the espers, or
Well,
the esters I get from lagers. Whatever.
I definitely wanted to throw in something that I think some of our audience could relate to in the mix of things, and not think we were, just only talking about craft beer and not throw a macro in the scheme of things. And we've done that in the past as well. So, all right. Well, next up is going to be the beer that is in sample number 2. And this is our number 5 pick. It is Ballast Point Mango Keel. So, is that the whole name, Sparky?
Ballast Point Mango Even Keel.
Mango Even Keel.
Even Keel is their session. Mango Even Keel is their mango.
Tastes like a sellout. I'm sorry.
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
Snapdragon.
Just
soon.
so bad. I just can't believe that happened. Just bad host.
I'm told that this is 3.8 alcohol by volume. I'm told.
Smells like about $20.3 million. Good old boy Kendall, what do you think about?
I really like this beer. I wrote down 2 words: tropical and mango. It's a mango bomb, but I enjoy it. I know a lot of people like the different Sculpin varieties, but I've had the Mango Even Keel before. I think it's one of my favorite Ballast Point beers. To me, it's a 5.
How about that? Interesting. Dare I ask, Sparky, what do you think about the Ballast Point Mango Even Keel?
Well, I actually had never had this until about 3 weeks ago, and I had it on draft when I was up in Bloomington, Indiana, and I think I crushed like a 20-something ounce, like huge thing of it, and it was like nothing. And I almost get like almost a vanilla at the very end of it. I don't know if it's the...
I can see that.
Yeah, mango playing off the hops, but... yeah, it doesn't taste like a lot of session beers. I mean, there's plenty. I mean, even the regular Even Keel, I think, is great. And I mean, I'm with you, man. I could just like pound these sons of guns all day long, and I had to give it a 4. I thought it was really good.
How about that? Good old boy Matt, what do you think about Ballast Point Mango Even Keel?
My comments were mango monster. But the finish kind of falls off. It's kind of a weak finish. I kind of, you smell it and then you taste it. Great beer, could drink it, it's fine. But I thought it's solid. I give it like a 3+.
All right, how about that? Good old boy Richard, what do you think about Ballast Point Mango Even Keel?
I got the mango out of it, so there was that. And then there was this like.
We'll let you brew again.
Yeah.
You would have passed.
I got this
With
bright
clothing.
I got like a bright confectionery candy sweetness along with that, and then like he's absolutely right. Like the finish drifted off. It definitely, I knew that it was an under 4% beer because it felt like, dare I say it, a little kid beer.
Interesting choice.
Do you have a van, by the way, like a panel van that you drive around in by chance?
And I would like to thank Ballast Point for being my sponsor in my van program.
children need something to drink, right?
It's true.
Free candy / beer.
Our resident expert on raising children with beer is good old boy Sparky.
They're got to learn one of these days. It's a lesson you need to learn.
No, hold it with your left hand and then pop it with your right.
Correct.
Not the other way around.
No.
We were talking about the beer, right?
Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
That's right. Good old boy Richard, what's your Suds rating for this?
I'll give it a 3.
A 3. How about that? Interesting choice. So, is this fruit number 7 or 13 in the Sculpin series?
Well, it's not a sculpin.
It's not even a sculpin.
It's not a
That's
sculpin.
right,
Yeah,
so
we're off the reservation, buddy.
So is this mango left over from the mango sculpin? Is that it?
I don't know. I mean, there's could be a project around that. Man, I've got this great story about mangoes. So my wife's grandmother is like classic, straight out of Seinfeld, a Jewish grandmother from New Jersey. And she once told us we were at a resort where everything was mango themed. Mango tea, mango shampoo, everything. And she told us, she said, my dermatologist tells me that if I have even one bit of mango, my hair will fall straight out. Is there any mango in this coffee? And so, like, now I can't ever have mango without thinking about my hair falling straight out. So...
I think that's what happened to me.
It's the mango hair care products. That's what
I know what that story needs.
I gotta have more cowbell, baby. Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Thank you, Mike.
That story needed more cowbell, definitely, along the way. Well, I thought that this beer was... I just thought it was okay. I had some trouble figuring out where it wanted to be when it grew up, kind of thing. It's almost like it really was kind of floating through a sugary, fruity, abyss, kind of along the way. And I was looking for a little bit more backbone other than the malt or something that was actually going to bring it out in the fruit. And instead it kind of wound up in the middle going, I'm not really quite sure, where this is going to go. I've had this several times. I've had it on draft. I've had it on a can. I just have not really kind of come around to being a huge fan of this. I'm going to give it a 2.
Quite a wide range on that beer.
Yeah,
I guess
I know.
it's whether or not you're a mango fan.
Well,
Right.
At least it's not a raspberry beer. So.
I felt like it was.
Well,
like
we
the
have a
Sweetwater
surprise for you,
of a
Mike.
beer.
The mango aroma off of that was intense.
Yeah.
So it was wild.
I just felt like it was like a partigile, like the last stage of like the Sweetwater of a different beer that they maybe fermented and then put mango in. I don't know. I want to change my rating almost. But yeah, I love the mango perspective. I like
All right. Well, let's move along to our last beer in the lineup, which is Pickup Sample Cup number 3. And what you're holding in your hand is emergency drinking beer from Wild Haven. Look at that, man. Oh, interesting reaction all the way around the room. Like, really? I can't believe we put that in our top 6. Yep,
feel betrayed.
You sure did. And the crowd goes wild. Actually, good old boy Ron came through the room while we were recording and slipped me a $50 bill, so I put that in the top 6.
I knew it.
Anyway, so
Dimpled Chad's involved.
Yep, absolutely. I can be bought. There is a price. Everybody has a price. So this particular beer is from Wild Haven. Emergency drinking beer. It is definitely a session beer. It has a very distinctive label, doesn't it? Good old boy Kendall.
It does. It's yellow with a lot of black lettering on it. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Yeah, and you kind of look at the label and go, wait, what? I'm sorry. What's
It almost looks generic. If it was a white can, you would think it's generic
looks
beer.
like a beer made by the government almost, right?
It does.
Is that the government or the government?
Government.
Okay.
What did I say?
You said government.
I did.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
glad I got that right. We need obviously more cowbell to get through this. Good old boy Kendall, what do you think about emergency drinking beer?
It's a good hot weather beer. It's crisp. I get a lot of lemon, citrusy notes out of it. It kind of finishes clean. It's a good average summer beer, and it's a 3 for me.
3 for you. Good old boy Sparky, what do you think about emergency drinking beer from Wild Haven?
I swear we've brought this on another episode.
I don't
that
think
we've
so.
Done
No?
or didn't make it. I think.
I don't think it made the summer beer can show. I think that was the other one that
I
we
can't
were.
remember, but I know that we tasted it and it might not have made it. But I have proof here. It was not one of my top picks. I gave it a 2, and I don't know what my tasting notes were because I just drew a question mark next to. I feel like Sean Connery on Jeopardy. That's your choice, Trebek. Catch you next time, you Spanish peacock.
All right.
But that was a 2 for me.
All right. Good old boy Matt, what do you think about emergency drinking beer from Wild Haven?
Thought it was a pretty clean lager. Nothing fancy, just a good all-around drinker. I give it a 3.
How about that? Good old boy Richard, what do you think about the emergency drinking beer from Wild Haven?
The only thing I had to really say about it was that I just felt like it was very neutral. I wasn't wowed by it. I wasn't seduced by it. I wasn't disappointed by it. I mean,
so in case of
my
emergency,
my emergency beer is called Jameson Irish Whiskey.
that's good.
Really, that's mine too. Wow.
I think they're
Keep it behind the glass and break it. Just
Yeah,
when you-
exactly. No, we have a fire extinguishing cabinet in my brewery that has a bottle of Jameson behind it.
God bless you people.
Yeah.
I broke the glass a long time ago.
Yeah. We just opened the cabinet because I got that off Craigslist, and I'm not willing to spend another thing for glass. But like, don't break it. Just open the. It's not locked. I thought.
But what if things get really desperate?
Yeah. Okay, then break it.
Okay.
And that's my decision. I bought it, so whatever. No, I thought it was very neutral. I thought it was a very drinkable beer. I'd give it a 2. I would drink PBR over it. How's that?
You're going to give it a 2. All right. Well, my own tasting thoughts here on emergency drinking beer. This may be while it's not made the show previously, because, I mean, my first thought was, is this actually blended with 7-Up? Because it has the lemon lime component. Kind of coming.
6.
Look.
I demand a retabulation of.
Hey, it was a tiebreaker, remember, between 3 and 9. So we'll
talk about 9. We'll talk about 9 in just a second. We'll still go rather quickly. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to say this is a 2. Might drop some ice in it. Maybe it'll get a little bit better.
That is cruel to say about a beer.
So
man.
sorry. I just okay. Yeah. I feel better now. It was kind of like
I could have gone elsewhere with this. All right. So you're saying the tiebreaker was what was in sample cup number 9, and that is the Easy Livin IPA from Core Brewing. One of the people at this table actually makes this beer, so
I put it in my top 6.
So let's talk about Easy Livin IPA. Pick up sample cup number 9. We'll talk about this real quick. Interesting. Good old boy Kendall, what do you think about this?
I really enjoyed the beer. Nice, resiny. It has the flavors of a big IPA, but much easier drinking, and I did enjoy it. It was a 4 for me.
How about that? Excellent. Good old boy Sparky, what do you think about the Easy Livin IPA from Core Brewing?
I again had no idea what it was, and it absolutely made my top, and resiny, again, more characteristic of a bigger IPA. I give it a 4.
How about that? Quickly here, good old boy Matt.
I thought it was good. It was for an IPA, I would consider it maybe a little too balanced, a little astringent finish, but it was all right. I give it a 3.
All right. And good old boy Richard, what do you think about the Easy Livin IPA from Core Brewing?
From your brewery.
I thought it was it had a nice nose on it. I felt like it's very balanced for a session IPA. And I feel like it needs work. I feel like that the hops that are featured in it could be featured a lot more, and I feel like that that whoever made this enjoys a malt forward beers a lot more than they enjoy hoppy beers. But it was good. I'll give it a 3.
Cool. I'm going to echo that sentiment. I thought the only thing that was a little off on this was I thought there was room for the hops to shine a bit more. So, yeah, a 3 as well. Well, there you have it. Our show on session beers is in the wraps. Let's wrap up our episode for today. Well, I hope you've really enjoyed this show. Hopefully you kept your clothes on while you're actually listening to this. And you can catch all of our episodes online as well on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. Google Play, iTunes, and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sips, Suds, and Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store. Please do not use the words clothing optional beer show. We love your feedback, and you can reach us online anytime at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com.
Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day at Sips, Suds, and Smokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode if you're listening online. It's a big help to us. We'd love your feedback.
Well, I definitely want to take a moment and thank our co-host for being here. Good old boy Kendall. Thanks.
Cheers. Good to be here.
And good old boy Sparky.
I am wearing a nautical-themed pashmina.
Good old boy Matt.
I've got a special banana hammock for the next show.
And good old boy Richard.
I am truly alone.
Do you need a moment down there just all by yourself?
I'm okay.
Is that it?
I'm okay.
Hugs incoming.
Or
motorboating. I mean, either.
Maybe there's a little bit of therapy, that we can kind of bring, around for you next time.
Right. Yeah,
or beer. We have beer.
Is there any more PBR
beer is my
left?
therapy. It's my catharsis. Is there any PBR left?
Yep.
I would like to thank all the brewers that made these beers. They were all good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, this is good old boy Mike asking you to keep on sipping.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.